Hi, Kevin Wright here with another property finance tip. And what we're talking about this week. This week, we're talking about the comparative ways you can buy using cash or buy ready to rent properties or buy doer uppers. And we'll look at the pros and cons of each. So, sound interesting? Keep watching. Okay, so you could buy a property with cash, you could buy a property that's ready to rent, or you could buy a property that needs doing up before you rent or possibly sell it. So let's drill down and look at the implications of each. Now, let's say you can buy a property with cash. Now, that might not be you because not everyone's got, massive amounts of cash to buy a property. And you do need a lot of cash to buy a property, even in the cheaper areas of the UK. But if you can buy with cash, what's the plus and what's the minus to that? Well, there's a very big plus in buying with cash is you've got no borrowing costs, you've got no mortgage costs or anything like that. So therefore, the rent that you receive is all profit. Now, you're going to have some maintenance costs and if you've got an HMO, you're going to have to pay for the bills. But essentially, the vast majority of the rent is your profit. So brilliant, you can make a lot of money on one house. What's the disadvantage? Well, you can't buy too many properties, because unless you've got an absolute mountain of cash, then you're going to run out, even if you buy one. I mean, maybe you've got enough to buy more than one, but pretty soon you're going to run out of cash. So you get all the money that the property produces in rental income, but you're severely limited on the amount you can buy. So very, very few people adopt a cash-only strategy. And a lot of people can't adopt a cash-only strategy even if they want to. So they've got to look at financing it, let's say with a mortgage, buy-to-let mortgage. That's the way you normally do it. If you're going to get a property, should you go for a one that's ready to rent or one that you've got to do up before you rent out? Well, there are, again, pluses and minuses in both. Let's look at the difference. Ready to rent is clearly the simplest option. You buy a property, nothing needs doing to it, or very little needs doing to it. You can put a tenant straight in there, and of course you can get a mortgage to do that. Now, in most cases, you'll need to put a 25% deposit down because decent mortgages start at 75%. There's very little available over that. You've got some 80% ones, but watch my other video, are 80% mortgages all they're cracked up to be? Watch that one, and I'll show you why that 80% is generally not what you want to go for. You want to be sticking to 75% maximum. So great, easy to buy, loads of them around. Pretty much any property would work on that basis. Now, you could do it on a single let basis. You could do it if it's already set up for multi-letting or HMO, you could do that. Okay, you might have to do some conversion work otherwise. So pretty much easy to do. What's the but? Here's the but. This doesn't eat up quite as much cash as buying cash, but it's still a voracious eater of cash. 25% down on each property and the next property. And again, unless you're really flush with cash, you're soon going to be running out of deals. And again, unless you're really flush with big lumps of cash, you can be running out of cash to keep buying properties. So again, that keeps a lid on the amount of properties you can own. But it's easy. So good bits, bad bits. Now, the other option, doer uppers or fixer uppers, as they're sometimes also known. So these are properties that are not in tip-top condition. They're in varying degrees of disrepair. They could be relatively minor, need a coat of paint, need reflooring, or they could be more substantial. New kitchen, new bathroom, even new heating, new windows, maybe even more substantial than that, new roof, or maybe you want to do an extension, things like that. So there's a whole range of stuff that comes under doer uppers. What's the pros and cons with that? Well, one of the great things about it is that once you've done the work, if you bought it at a good price, and you should always be mindful of the price you buy it, watch my video, how to work out the right price to buy a property. So find that one. That's a good one to give you more guidance on how not to overpay for property. Now, assume you bought it at a decent price, you've done the work, whatever that is, larger or smaller scale. Now you're going to be looking to refinance it on a mortgage at the uplifted value, and that's going to pull out a chunk of that cash. If you do it really well, and you won't always do it really well, but if you do it really well, you could pull out virtually all the cash you've got. So you've now got a property that's giving you a rental income. It's on a mortgage. You've got the difference between the rental income and the mortgage payment. That's your positive cash flow. Okay, bit for repairs and that. But the critical thing here is you haven't got all your 25% cash deposit sitting in the property. Most of it has come back out, which means you can now buy another doer-upper with the same money. And if you get really good at that, you can buy property after property after property with a single pot of cash. And that ability to recycle cash, something I've been teaching to investors for the last 10 years. Okay, so there's got to be a disadvantage with that, hasn't there? Well, yes, there is. Disadvantage is you can't buy them with mortgages, because the more work a property needs doing to make it in tip-top condition, the less likely you are to get a mortgage. So what does that mean? Well, it means you're either back to buying with cash or bridging finance. Now, if it's cash, it can be your own, or it could be someone else's if they're prepared to lend it to you on a private basis. But if you haven't got anyone like that with that sort of cash, then it's bridging finance. Now, bridging finance adds an extra layer of cost. You'll see me talking about bridging finance on a number of the videos that I do. So it's not something necessarily to be scared of, but it is something to get knowledgeable about. And I've been teaching people how to use bridging intelligently for the last 10 years. So cash is great for making bigger profits, not so great because you can't buy many properties. Ready rent is great because it's easy to get rental income coming in because you can put a tenant straight in there. Not so great because it eats up your deposit cash. Doer-uppers are great because they give you the opportunity to recycle your cash back out and buy more properties, sometimes many more properties, with a single pot of cash. Not so good because it incurs extra costs with bridging finance. So there are a quick run through of the different ways that you can choose to buy a property, finance it, and the types of property that you buy. You know, clearly there is no perfect solution, but you've just got to take the rough with the smooth and work out which one works better for yourself. So there we are. That's this week's property tip. Hang around because I've got something else to show you. But before I show you that, hey, have you subscribed? If not, click the subscribe button and click the belly thingy, because I've got about 3 or 4 videos a week coming out now. So you don't want to miss any, do you? If you're liking this stuff, hey, why miss stuff? Just get a notification every time one's released. If you enjoyed watching this video, did you know every Monday morning at 8:30 I do a live Facebook Q&A. So if you want to start the week with checking out some answers to your property finance questions, click the link here.